Hey there, if any of you are parents and you're trying to run a business and you have multiple kids, it is not the easiest thing in the world. I'm giving you a few tips that have helped me manage the demands of being a mom and being a business owner at the same time.
I ate there.
You're what?
I ate there.
I don't know what you're saying. Hey there, I'm Katelyn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a place where we like to empower photographers to build both profitable and purposeful businesses while also letting you in the behind the scenes of our day-to-day life. And if I'm being honest, the behind the scenes of our day-to-day life, we have not done a lot of that the last year. And that's because our behind the scenes of our life is a little bit just pure chaos right now. But this video is going to give you a little peek behind the curtain of what it is like to be a parent and run a business like this. And so if you're not a parent, if that is not what life looks like for you, this may not be the week where you glean the most from an episode. But if you are a parent, this is for you because we are in the throes of being young parents in this household. We have a 4-year-old. We have a 2-year-old, and we have an 8-month-old, and they're all crazy and they're all wonderful. I love the season. It's my favorite season ever of my life, but I am more tired than I have ever been in my life, and it is challenging. So let me just start right there because I just realized a few seconds ago, I told Ty, I'm like, it is 3:59. I have not even eaten lunch today. How did I forget to eat lunch? And then I thought to myself, I don't know if all my kids even ate lunch. I mean, it is just nonstop in our life with all these young kids. And we started this business before we had children, before we were even thinking of children. I was 20 years old when I became a wedding photographer. I was 20 years old when I launched Katelyn James Photography. And so a lot of my hustle years, I recognize, were happening before I ever became a mom. And there was a season of my life, a hustle season of my life, that I was shooting like crazy, trying to build this business, and I didn't have little people at home. And I'm hoping that even though we may not be exactly aligned with where we are in our season of life, we may be able to share some tips that will help each other out. So I'm going to start with set your priorities. Tip number 1. This sounds very simple, and yet it is not simple at all. One thing that I'm working through in coaching right now in my own life, I'm working through looking at my calendar and setting priorities for life and then priorities for work in that order, because so much of my life was spent saying yes, 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 yes to work, and then going back and trying to fit my life in wherever I had open space. Maybe an example would be looking at your calendar and saying, all right, I am going to decide what I need as a family and as a mom before I let my clients and who books with me and my dates slip through my fingers. I want to decide what I need as a mom first. I recognize sometimes in season of business where you need your income, you need to make a certain level of income. You want to just say yes to everything. And I think you should. I think you should grow and continue down that road of hustle, but there's a way to do it in a healthy way. And it may just be that you look at your schedule and you say, all right, instead of doing every single night of the week, I'm going to have a portrait session, I'm saving my Tuesday evenings, right? Maybe it's Tuesday, Thursday. Maybe it's saying one weekend a month, I just want to do a Sunday wedding and not a Saturday wedding because I really want to be at the soccer games. So setting your priorities then allows you to feel a little bit more in control. For me, as a mom in business, I get most panicked and most stressed and most resentful and most kind of victim-y, like, oh, woe is me, I'm working so much. That happens most when I feel like my business is controlling me, when I feel like I have no say in my life, when I feel like my schedule is completely out of my reach. And then I have to backtrack and be like, wait, I signed myself up for this. We have to be willing to take a step back and be like, what actually are our priorities for our life to help us feel more in control of our schedule and to create the life that we dream of? Can we have both a successful business with boundaries and also a really thriving personal life that's not demanded by the business? So setting your priorities happens first. Another tip is to outsource things that you do not have to do. Look at everything. This kind of falls in lines with setting your priorities. Like I used to look at my business and think, well, only I can edit for myself, right? But editing was taking days, like not a couple hours, days. I learned early on in my career that I was sacrificing my early years of marriage and fun, like season with my husband, because I was controlling the way my final galleries turned out. I would not let anyone else touch them. And so I remember my mentor, Jasmine Starr, said to me once, she was like, Katelyn, how much would you put a price tag? Like, what's the price tag on having beautiful memories with your husband before you have kids? What would you pay for that? I'm like, well, that is not fair. You can't say like, put a price tag on memories with your husband, but you can. And she told me, she drilled into me. She was like, Katelyn, that's what you're doing, right? $300 for someone else to edit a huge gallery for you so you can have a day a week with your husband. You're basically saying that $300 is how much you would put a price tag on a day with your husband, memories with your husband, peace in your home. And I decided then, like, I'm going to work my butt off to find a private editor that I love that can match my style, and it changed my life. So outsource what you do not have to do and do the part of your job that actually makes you money. Editing doesn't actually make you money. It steals your time, which then steals your income. So outsource what you do not have to do. Another step, another tip would be to evaluate when you are a working mom and you start your day, right? You get through breakfast, you clean the mess up off the floor. Maybe you get your kids dressed and it's like such a big win. I don't know about you, but my kid, literally there are pajama pants of my son's literally right underneath Ty's light. There's also Cheerios and dried food on the floor. So if you feel like your life's a mess, I wish you could see my kitchen right now. You make it through your morning, you get your kids fed, and maybe you have in your mind like, oh, you wake up and you're inspired. You're like, I'm going to get this, and this done. I do this all the time to myself. I have this big dream of everything I'm going to get accomplished. And then I'm working on that to-do list and the kids are nicely playing and a fight breaks out. Or someone has a blowout. Someone is hungry and needs to nurse when they're not supposed to need a nurse. Maybe a nap did not go as long as a nap was supposed to go. And all of a sudden, my entire sense of joy as a parent is stolen because my expectations of what I thought I was going to get done were not met. And I'm learning in order to be a joyful parent in business, I got to reevaluate what these expectations are. And I've got to start catching myself when I'm making these expectations. A lot of times I'll realize I am so uptight and frustrated because of the way the day went. Why did this happen? Well, it's because my expectations for the day from the very beginning were too high. So in order to maintain joy in your life as a mom in business, you might want to be a little bit more realistic about what goals you can get accomplished that day based on what situation your childcare looks like. If you're in full control of your children and you have no help that day, let's be realistic about what can actually get accomplished so that you don't have a meltdown when something doesn't go your way. For managing client expectations, if you are a mom and you're a business owner, only you can decide what your client expectations can be. What I mean by this, you know your capacity, you know whether or not you have help, you know whether or not your spouse or partner has a full-time job and can help you. Only you can decide what you're capable of. And if you're like me, Enneagram 3, I like to think that I can do anything. And then all of a sudden my expectations are met, I'm not getting everything accomplished, and my world comes crumbling down. So you know your scenario. When you are talking to a client, and you're a mom, maybe you have kids that are older, kids that are younger, maybe they're in school, maybe they're not. You got to decide, what can my turnaround time be, right? I teach people, I get things blogged within 48 hours, but I have a childcare system now that allows me to still stick with that workflow. So if you don't have a childcare system that can allow you to turn things around that fast, and you can't stay up editing till 2 a.m., then that may not be possible for you in this season of life. So I recommend figuring out what your capacity is as a parent, and then setting up expectations for your client. And you want to under promise, over deliver. I almost got that mistaken. I'm really tired. Anyway, so I like to under promise, over deliver. So say for you, maybe you can't get a wedding turned around in a week like I can because your childcare looks different. Well, then tell your client it's going to be about 6 weeks and deliver it in 4. So your client's not expecting anything for you after the wedding. Maybe you, another example is you have office hours added to the signature of your email that are very minimal. You tell your client, I'm a mom, I'm a working mom. I do emails 3 times a week from this time frame. So if you, and you can add this into the first kind of email back and forth where you're planning the wedding day. Set yourself up for success. Let them know like, hey, I check my emails 3 days a week. So if you email me on Monday, you might not hear back until Wednesday. I just want to make sure we are clear on that as we get started in this relationship. So managing your client's expectations goes a long way, and it removes expectation on you. It removes the feeling of like, I'm not enough, I can't keep up, I can't serve this client well enough. Well, you can if you told them what your capacity is and what your boundaries are up front. Last but not least, and I'm hesitant to say this, but I got to, you need help. Like, I don't know how people do this without help. And you might be saying, well, that's great for you, Katelyn, because I can't hire someone to just come in and watch my kids for a full work week. I get it. I do. I get that. That is not a possibility for everyone. So I want to offer some other solutions. I know a lot of photography friends that have found a friend, a buddy, someone in their life that has kids around the same age, or maybe kids that need childcare, and they swap, right? So it's not you're spending more money, you're spending some of your time. So you get 3 hours on Monday, kids go to their house, then you take the kids 3 hours on Wednesday, right? So you're already watching kids on Wednesday, now you're just adding a few more into the mix. You're not going to get any work done on Wednesday, but Monday you got 3 hours of time that you can work. That's an option. Hiring someone just for a couple hours a week, not hiring someone full time. I was talking to a friend about this. I don't even think that this concept of just getting a little bit of help, maybe it's an hour, go to a Starbucks for an hour and leave someone with your kids during nap time. You need white space. You need margin. Sometimes I get out of the house to go do a work session and I will only get 5 emails done, but I come back a new person, a new mother, a new wife, a new friend, and a new business partner because I just had some time to myself. Like, I never understood why that's so necessary. But if you are in the throes of motherhood, just an hour or 2 or 3 away from the chaos will do your mind and your heart and your body some good. Something also to consider is when I first did the math about outsourcing, spending money in order to make money, I was like, I can't spend all that. I'm going to spend $18,000 having someone edit 40 some weddings for me. But what's crazy is that I got more time in my life back. I booked a few more weddings because I wasn't editing them. And I actually made $6,000 more, even though I was spending $18,000 more. Blew my mind. Same is true for childcare. You may think to yourself, okay, I can't spend $150 and pay this young girl to come watch my kids and I have an actual work day where I'm free of my responsibilities. But what if you could? Because that $150 allows you to market more, to plan out your Instagram more, to book more, to turn around your galleries a little bit faster, to have more joy in your business. That type of growth can only happen when you have the space to make it happen. So $150 can go a long way when it comes to growing your business. I think so often as a mom, and maybe this just happens to me and it's no one else's reality. But sometimes I just think of myself as being superwoman. Like, I have these kids, but I could totally multitask. I want to get all my emails done. I want to get that engagement session delivered. And when it doesn't happen, I'm more frustrated and more temperamental with my kids. I feel like I'm failing my clients. It's just this horrible cycle of I just need to be honest. Like, I need help. I really need help. In order to run this business well, I need help. And it's going to take the risk of spending money in order to make money. But isn't that the risk of business in general? So do you take the risk, hire a babysitter, try it out, and see what happens with that little bit of margin and white space and free time to get work done? Or do you keep running in the same hamster wheel that you do every day, day in and day out? So the real risk of all this, if you think about it, is what if you don't ever make a change and you live in this constant pattern of I'm giving like 50% effort to my work and I'm getting 50% effort to my kids, but no one's ever getting the full best version of me. Your kids are getting a stressed out business owner and your business is getting a stressed out mom. And if you can find the balance of giving yourself some space to dedicate solely to business, solely to parenting, it's a beautiful divide. I think so often we try to combine the two and make it this seamless process. Like, I don't need help. And it ends up being super stressful. If this rings true to you, can you please leave a comment? Because I just had this thought of what if this only happens to me? What if I'm the only mom that struggles with this? That'll be embarrassing for the whole YouTube channel to hear. But I have a feeling that I'm not alone. I have a feeling that I'm not the only mom that really struggles with the balance. And I have found from experience that breaking up the two worlds and having some segmented time to be a great mom and to be a great business owner is really, really healthy. And I will say this, the days that seem really hard, the days that seem kind of stressful, like Michael took my kids today so we could film YouTube content and drove them an hour north to our hometown to get ice cream, and he's driving them back. They're probably watching 16 episodes of Peppa Pig. It's not my preferred day for the kids, but that's just what we had to do with our schedule this week. It's not ideal, but Evie's going to walk in a few minutes, and she's going to see us filming, and she's going to be like, oh, Mama's working today. And so there's a beautiful example of balance of I want my daughter to see me working. I want her to see that I'm doing my passion. I'm living into my purpose in my life. But I also know that when we're done, we're done until office hours start the next day. So there's a good balance. There's a way to do this well. And I hope that this video has empowered you to maybe take a few tips and tricks here and there to improve the quality of life between being a parent and being a business owner. So if you enjoyed this, let me know. Like and subscribe so you don't miss other videos in the future. If you enjoy talking about parenting, motherhood, and business owning, let me know, because we haven't really done this a lot. So I want to make sure this resonates with some of you. And let me know that I'm not the only mom that gets a little stressed out sometimes. So thanks for tuning in. I will see you next Thursday. Bye.